Listen, no story's ever been told once. This story ain't no different. And the stories about Duma'maki, well, they always go the same way. An adventurer finds themselves in the depths with nothing but the inky veil as their companion. They find their ears muffled, they find their tongue sanded, and the oppressiveness of the dungeon surrounding them, robbing them of their senses. As they march through the abyss, they're desperate to find something, anything really, to bring back a sense of warmth and being, and that's when they see it. The star shining in the dark. And just in case you ain't heard these tales, and I'm assuming you ain't heard these tales because I'm telling it to you, let me be the first to tell you. That eerie blue light you see in the distance, it is not there to bring you solace. It don't matter how desperate your eyes are to drink in light amongst the darkness, it's a lighthouse that beckons you into rocky shoals. The cursed adventurer that sees this light has one option: run. To hide their tracks and gentle their steps and pray to Rosh Sa'ad that they can get away. Because that light in those frigid depths, they are poured in the dark tidings, and to have seen it was already a great failing from which they might never recover. But it ain't their fault. People lust for the light. Even the most stalwart and brave of us house this craving desire when confronted with the unfeeling, unknowing, unwavering oppressiveness of the depths. But for the naive adventurer, that desire would be their ultimate undoing. And so I tell this tale to any who would seek to challenge the maw of the world. A story from someone who dared to venture in a place where the mother don't want them to be. See, our story's fool was always brave, and when you pair that with a habit of taking risks and lucking your way through desperate situations, well, you can see how that might make you bold enough to attempt to delve into the depths. Even more so if you got courageous antics that inspire a few other fools to jump in with you. So in they go. Small contingent of morons who wade into the depths. No fear at first, after all, you still on the first layer. The sun's shining high above, you can see other people exploring the first layer off in the distance. They can even see spectators watching from the high walls. But taking that plunge, falling some few thousand feet into Uwan before you can lay your feet on solid ground again, courage gets left behind after a couple hundred feet. And tell me that darkness just about leaps out to you and embraces you as you're enveloped by it, as if it's welcoming you or swallowing you. So anyway, they lay their feet on the wet stone of the second layer, but nothing but blackness to receive them, and that's when it starts to hit that this ain't just some game. See, the dungeon's alive. The Duma'maki are just an extension of that life, feeding it rookies and seasoned adventurers alike, and they've just jumped right into its waiting mouth. 4 overeager souls, just destined for the collector, if the Duma'maki will have anything to say about it, and they will have something to say about it. But they in it now. No one wants to admit where they left their courage now that they're here. Pride is the Duma'maki's best friend. So they go marching into the darkness. A torch and a ball of light providing that protection and comfort against the atmosphere of this place. Well, that was their first mistake. Light in a place like this draws attention from any and everything that has eyes to see it. And just as surely as you would move towards the light, so too would the things down there in the dark. But you gotta do something. Making lots of noise and stumbling through the crags blindly would be even more foolhardy. And so they carried on with those lights in hand. And I was told now, they was moving towards a series of glowing, tree-sized mushrooms or something that they had seen off in the distance. They never made it. No, instead they got the dungeon's coldest welcome. A set of twin cyan stars peering at them out in the distance. Now they was complete fools, but they ain't lost their minds. They had heard the stories before, just like the one I'm telling you, and so they fled. A small band of rookies waded further into the darkness, away from the light. And now you're seeing where the second mistake was. They got lost amongst the dark, heading in different directions, clawing into the hollow emptiness, complete abandon, making every effort to outrun the dull shine of turquoise incandescence. That was their words, not mine. At every turn, ever closer, them twin blue eyes, they could be seen. And that's when they realized it. Much too late, but they realized it. They were being corralled, hunted like deer. No matter how many times they ducked behind rocks, forded streams, and vaulted fishes, they couldn't hide. Nah, they was in the darkness, and every breath betrayed them. Their hearts unceasing pounding was an alarm, and it was calling out to them creatures that was going to silence them. And still they had to flee, knowing that the sharp pricks they had started to feel on the ground weren't just happening by coincidence. Heartbeats, now at this point, fully in their throats, pumping with a loudness and vigor that defied the silence of their prayers to Mutwa. Mutwa help them. The sound of heavy fibers was the first bell tolled. The sound of them whisking through the air over top the fool's head, well, it was accompanied by a dull thud, and that was all the rest of what they needed to hear. 4 pulsing drum beats keeping time with one another had suddenly become 3. They ran on, further and faster, trying to escape, and the skittering of small objects on the rocky ground rang out in front of them. Even over the sound of their labored breathing, possessions start clattering to the ground, ringing out on the stone floor, and, well, made a bit of a procession song for one more heartbeat. 3 became 2. And, well, then the void starts pressing in. Only 2 of them left with hearts still beating, being threatened by the darkness and everything in it. See a flash of cyan light, brighter and larger than any they had seen up until that point, and in that light's when my friend sees the face of their last companion. Terrified, crying, shocked, I've heard it so many ways up to this point, but no matter the expression, 2 became 1. That last one, the one who told me this story, the fool who never visited the depths again, told me this. Loud slam came down in front of them, where they was running, and it just came to a stop, just praying to see here that they'd be able to endure whatever was coming. And that eerie blue light had caught up to them, glinting up from the darkness. It was 2 pinpoints accompanied by a hollow geode of that same light, and it come crawling towards them with cold, unfeeling steadiness. The sight of that Duma'maki was the last thing they ever saw of the depths. They awoke back in town. Apparently, some other experienced folks had seen them and took pity on them, saving them from a fate worse than death down below in a place they had never be seen again. You see, Duma'maki, they don't just kill. No, they rebuild you. They cut out whatever parts of you that they damaged while killing you, and then they sculpt new parts for you out of the dungeon itself. They put those new parts in you, and you become part of the dungeon. Forever. The Duma'maki ain't just mindless killing machines, you see. They're custodians, keepers of the dungeon. And they want to add you to their ranks.